Perfect. All righty, guys. We're going to get started here. I know there's a few people still kind of filing in. If you're a returner, you've seen this presentation sometimes, but I think it's very important for us to kind of touch on everything we go through, right? Purpose today is to kind of just go over overview what the fall season is. For some of our new staff, this kind of gives you guys some insight into what we're doing at I9 Sports, some of the expectations. Hopefully answer some of those questions you might have as you go on through your onboarding. But super, super stoked to get this fall season kind of up and off the ground. The last few seasons have been our summer seasons. In those small programs, right? This coming fall, it's going to be one of the bigger ones we've had to date. We're looking to get close to almost 400 teams here across both franchises, both territories. I'm telling you, we are stoked here to get everything kind of rocking and rolling, and super appreciative to all the staff you guys are doing out there. Excited to have all you guys, new guys out there, involved with us this season as well. And to all the returners, welcome back. Super excited. I really cannot express, Brandon, myself, Todd, Lewis, and I, we are bubbling with energy here as we get ready to start things off here. But just to kind of start us off here, some introductions for those of you guys who are new to the program or new to I9 Sports. My name is Reese Spy. If you don't remember me or you don't know me, I would recommend we figure that one out. I am going to be your guys' direct supervisor. So anything you guys have going on throughout the course of the season in regards to scheduling, the programs, if you have any questions, anything in that manner, right? That's all going to be directed to me. You can hit me up via text, via Connect Team, give me a phone call. But I'm kind of your one-stop shop for anything regarding to the programs or anything you guys are going to need throughout the season. Some things about my background here. So my job here at I9, I oversee all the staffing, the programming, and organizational effectiveness. So if it has to do with the program or people, that is my realm of the organization, right? Again, anytime you guys have anything going on, anything on Connect Team schedules, I'm the guy you guys want to reach out to. Any questions, I'm always going to be your first point of contact for really anything. My background here, I have a sport management degree from George Mason University. Essentially, if you're familiar with sport business, same concept, just a different name. Prior to I9 Sports, I worked in a couple different organizations, managing different operations for after-school programs, in-school programs, providing a couple leagues and tournaments up in Maryland for lacrosse, with the Maryland Lacrosse League on the adult side. I'm about to hit my first year here with I9 Sports. This will be my 6th season. So kind of finally hitting that veteran status. Some of our returning staff, I'm finally up there with you guys catching up. So no longer in that rookie mindset that you guys might look at me as previously. Some super other important staff members that you guys might hear the names of, you might see messages from, or they might even pop out of some of the venues. There's going to be Todd Peterson. He is the owner of I9 Sports. So he is the CEO. He runs the show here. He has been in ownership of I9 here. I want to say it's about 13 years now in Fairfax. Bought Loudon a few years ago, and now we also purchased the Arlington and DC I9. So we're expanding. We kind of have that whole northern regions kind of under our control as we're working towards providing the best youth opportunities in sports for kids. But if you ever meet Todd at a venue, again, he's the owner. He's the top CEO around here. So make sure we are, he's going to be out and about. Next up is going to be Lewis Diesel. Lewis is our athletic director. He oversees myself and Brandon. He's kind of runs the show here at the office, making sure we're staying on staff, handling all the partnerships we do, making sure our venues are good to go, and really just the quarterback of I9. Next up is going to be Brandon. Brandon is our operations manager. Brandon is the man who makes things appear where you guys don't see all the behind-the-scenes work with equipment, making sure the rosters are properly staffed. Any sort of league marketing communication Brandon handles. Brandon will appear here and there through the venues. So if you see Brandon, be sure to say hello. He's an awesome dude. And he might even hop out to help out with some site managing and things out there as we need. But just keep an eye out for those guys. They're all super, super stoked, just like myself, for this upcoming season. And we can't wait to just create another great I9 sports season for everybody. So a quick overview of our upcoming season, right? This is going to be the fall season. And I'll also leave some questions here. If you guys have any questions as we go through, you guys can pop them in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and also ask some questions, try to get a little bit interactive in here. That way I'm not the only one talking. So if you guys have any questions, pop in the chat. I'm going to call on some people, maybe put you on the spot. Just that way I have a little bit of second to breathe. You guys have something to get involved. But a quick overview of our upcoming season. So our fall season is going to be 6 weeks. We're going to be starting here on September 6th in Loudon, and then September 7th in Fairfax. It's going to run all the way through October 11th and October 12th. For our outdoor venues, in the event that there's weather, right, rain, mud, and maybe if it snows, we saw it in the spring for those of you guys who worked. The weather can sometimes be quite unpredictable, so we will have up to 2 rain makeup dates built in there. That will go October 18th and 19th and October 25th and 26th. When we post a schedule here, I should have the schedule starting maybe hosting about a week to a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks once we do some of our consolidations. I'm going to include shifts all the way out to the 26th. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to work those last 2 weeks. That is just in the event that there is a rainout. You guys already have that on your schedule. You can plan for that. What we're planning for is to be done by the 11th. But of course, like I said, those weather, you never know with Virginia, right? So just keep that in mind as we go throughout the course of the season, as those schedules are getting posted, that we're supposed to end the 11th and 12th, but we might get extended just based off weather. For this season, we'll be running all 5 sports: basketball, volleyball, baseball, flag football, and soccer for all age groups 3 to 14. Each sport is going to be, obviously, we have different age groups allowed. Basketball is going to be going from that 5 to 12, volleyball 7 to 14, baseball 3 to 6, flag football, that's going to be kindergarten through 8th grade, and soccer is going to be 3 through 10. We'll be running both our franchises. Fairfax County, it's going to be on Saturdays and Sundays for some of our venues, and then Loudoun County is going to be Saturdays only. In regards to weather, right, this is a huge thing that we get a ton of questions from every single season, from staff, from parents, from participants, right? We will not cancel programs based on the forecast. If you look at your phone and it says it's going to rain, it's going to thunder, it's going to lightning, still plan to go to work tomorrow, right? We wait till the morning of. I can't tell you how many times we canceled the day prior, and the next day it's been a beautiful day. We could have played and we wasted a weekend. We had to extend the season. So, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll communicate all that to you beforehand. But if the event that, maybe the forecast does say something's coming up, myself, Lewis, or Todd will actually be out on the fields the morning of the date, way before anybody's awake, checking the fields to make sure that, one, they're playable, two, the county hasn't canceled on us, the venues haven't canceled on us. But we'll be out there before the sun rises, before you guys waking up, making sure that we can do what we got to do out there to have a great day and have a great program. Sorry, my office light is glitching out right now. If we do have to cancel, right? So there's a couple things we'll do. One, I will go ahead and in each one of your venue group chats, you guys will receive a message from me. If you are working, say, Saturday and a Sunday program, right, we will let you know the day of each program. So if it might get canceled on Saturday, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be canceled on Sunday. So just keep that in mind. But we'll let you guys know way ahead of time. We try to let you know before you guys even leave your house by 7 a.m. if need be, if we have to cancel. You also, all of our participants, they have a different process. They'll receive a text and an email, but we'll send something on the all staff message chat, which all of you guys probably have noticed here. I've sent us a couple messages out there today, and then again, individually, each one of those group chats. So quick recap on that. Remember, we don't cancel on weather forecast, wait for the day of, plan to be at work. Those are the big takeaways for our weather forecast here. So the I-9 sports experience, right? And, we touched on this in every single meeting. I'm going to call on some people as we go through this, but this is essentially what we are trying to build when we're at the programs, what we're trying to build as a staff, when we're coaching, when we're officiating, even when we're just saying hello to people, the I-9 sports experience. So I'm going to call on some people. You guys might know the answer, but I want to hear, what is your representation, your thought process of what the I-9 sports experience is. So I'll start us off. Let's do Nick. Nick, what do you think the I-9 sports experience is?
I-9 sports experience, to me, it really means making sure that the kids are not only having fun, but they're also learning valuable things going into their lives, and making sure that they have a fun time and have giant takeaways from this, and also that the parents are also enjoying it and making sure that they can use those values to not only teach their kids, but also to continue on their own.
Awesome. That's a great answer, Nick. Really appreciate that. Anaya, what do you think the I-9 sports experience is to you? Uh-oh. Maybe Anaya can't hear me. Anaya, you want to give it a shot? I'm going to have to pick somebody else. All right. Maybe her microphone's not working. Let's see who's on the here. Can I see? Noah, what is the I-9 sports experience?
I kind of agree with Nick for the most part. Like when I'm doing a clock in, main thing that I'm thinking about is making sure it's fun, like for the kids and parents as well, right? Making the parents have an enjoyable time there too. And then you also just want to look like everything is professional and organized when they walk into the venue or they walk into the building, so they know it's a professional environment, but their kid is going to have an enjoyable time.
Absolutely, man. Those are both great examples and great interpretations of what the I-9 sports experience is. Round of applause to both of you guys. I'll give you guys a little celebration emoji here. But they nailed it, right? We are focused on. Alex, you got something to add to that? Oh, maybe he's raising. What's up?
That was an accident.
Oh, no worries, man. No worries. So no, they both hit the nail with the hammer there, right? We are looking for quality instruction for these kids, right? From the moment they walk into the venue to the moment they leave, that they are seeing a professional environment. Their kids are getting that happy the fun aspect of it. They're growing not only as athletes but also as people, right? And we can do that through a couple different pillars here. And the first and foremost, that is the fun, right? The primary reason that these kids are signing up, that their parents are signing up, that they're even out there to begin with, is fun, right? When think back to when you were a kid, right? Did you sign up to play whatever sport you chose to play just cause? Like, you signed up to have fun, right? And that is what our number one goal is to do, right? We want the kids to come out there, want them not only fall in love with the sport, but we want them to be social, right? Make friends, make teams, make those memories. That's going to drive them to come back week after week. You guys as instructors, you guys are really a driving force behind that, right? The way that you work with the teams, the way that you speak to the parents, the way that you speak to the kids, you guys inject the energy into the program, right? Take the lead of that, right? Take pride in being the person that really makes a difference in a kid's day, a week. You want them to come in week after week looking forward to seeing Coach Noah, to seeing Coach Nick, or to seeing Coach Alex, knowing that they're going to inject that fun, that positivity into the environment, into the air, and really create that great experience for them. Our next play is going to be inclusivity, right? So as opposed to some of the other leagues in the area, we are not a highly competitive league, right? We are inclusive in every aspect of the league. If we're a flag football instructor, we're giving every single kid an opportunity to play with every single position, right? Every single kid, if we're playing soccer, they're going to get a chance to rotate in each position, whether it's goalie, it's forward, they're playing midi, maybe some defense. They're getting the opportunity to experience every single step of the way, what every single sport has to entail. Every single kid also needs to make sure they're playing at least 50% of the game, right? And that's another responsibility that we have to take on as instructors, is to ensure that every kid is getting equal opportunity to be involved, right? The number one thing that drives, that destroys kids' fun is that they're not being involved. They're not getting the ball in their hands. They're not getting a chance to play a position they want to play, right? So we want to make sure that we are staying on top of that, whether we're working with coaches, providing them substitution sheets. If we're coaching a team, we're doing equal rotations, something that's huge, right? Nobody wants to be left out, especially not kids at this level when they're first getting involved in sports. That's the quickest way to derive them from learning to love and engage in the sport. Next, a big pillar for us is safety, right? Anytime we're working with kids, or really sports in general, is safety. And that goes all the way from the actual games themselves to even the background checks that we do. So for anybody that's on staff, right, anybody wearing that blue staff shirt, you guys have all undergone a background check, which actually reminds me, for all of our returning staff, I have messaged you. A lot of background checks are expiring right now. We need to make sure that we are getting those back in. You cannot work a league or be involved with the kids unless you have a valid background check on file. Even if you've been with us for years and years and years, you have to have a valid one. So if I message you, check your Connect team after the meeting, make sure you get that in. But for all of our staff members, right, you guys can't be out there without those checks. Same deal with the volunteer coaches, right? Anybody who is wearing a red I-9 Sports Coaches shirt, just like, where's my pen? This gentleman's right here, right? They're going to have that red shirt. Make sure, they have completed their background check. Does any of our returners know how to know that they have a valid background check in the system and they can take a red shirt? Anybody want to try? I'm going to call somebody. Zita, do you know how you can check to see if somebody has a background check in the system at a venue?
I do not know that.
No worries. They are going to be on the coach check-in sheet, right? So anybody whose name is on a coach check-in sheet, it means that they are assigned to the team. They have cleared the system. They can take a red shirt. If you have a parent volunteer that you've recruited the day of, or a mom or dad who's stepping up, they are welcome to help. But until they wear and if they complete that background check and they go through the process, we cannot label them as an official I-9 sports coach. So make sure we are keeping in mind of that when we're out of the venues. And anybody who's around the kids, right? Make sure that you're communicating who's with the kids, where they're with. If they don't have a background check, we're working with them, not letting them do their own thing, but staying directly with them just for the safety purposes. Next, what's going to separate us apart is the convenience factor of I-9 sports, right? For those of you guys who are parents on here, or any of those guys who play maybe some of the more youth sports-based stuff, I'm sure a number of you guys had practices throughout the week, Monday through Friday, then Saturday you're doing something, Sunday you're doing something. We try to be that all in one, right? You come in on Saturday, you come in on Sunday, you're coming in, you're getting everything in one. You get your practice, your game time, and you're done for the week. You're getting the full experience, right? That is something that we take pride in. I-9 as a brand is focused on, is making it as convenient as possible to come in and get a quality program, same day instruction with organized practice plans, organized instruction. That leads us to our next slide here, which is the organization, of course. For those of you guys who have been with us, for our returners, if you've gone into knowledge base, you've seen just how structured out those practice plans are, right? There is to the minute, whether it's the practice plans, it's the schedules, it's what's going on the field. We are organized, right? We take a lot of pride, we take a lot of time in ensuring that every single step of the way from the start of the day to the end of the day is accounted for, it's organized. And it's super important when it comes to some of our larger venues, as there's really no time between sessions unless it's a switch in equipment, that we are staying organized with our practice plans and the schedules. That way we're not getting behind. If you get behind in one practice, you're getting behind in the next and the next, and it avalanches forward. So make sure we're staying organized and we're adhering to that value here at I9. Next, the number one most important thing as an I9 brand is sportsmanship, right? We'll touch on some of the new incentives we'll be doing later on here in the presentation. But you know, when we're out there reffing, we're coaching, whatever we're doing out there with the kids, you know, we always need to make sure our sportsmanship is on our mind, right? We want to listen to what the kids are saying, reinforcing those positive behaviors and that healthy level of competition. You know, we are not worried about if a kid can score 10 goals, not worried about if a kid scores 6 touchdowns. You know, it's awesome if they do. I love to hear that, you know, they're progressing well as a sports, you know, but we want them to grow more so. We want them to grow not only physically as athletes, but also emotionally as people, learning our different values and things. So make sure, you know, that's a big focus here. That's the reason their parents also chose I9 is the sportsmanship values and focus that we have each week for the kids. Lastly, we're going to be providing all equipment for families. You know, everything that they sign up for, all of our equipment is all included in that price. So, you know, we provide all the equipment from the flags to the balls to the fields. Whatever they're going to need to be successful out there, we'll have out there. When you guys go out there and if you have any kids or any families to ask, I highly recommend, you know, everybody have them go get a practice ball, right? You guys are going to be teaching them on the week. The best thing for a kid to develop is to take that ball home or take their ball home and practice what you guys taught them. If you guys are out there on the week one and you've noticed people are bringing in their own practice balls, grab a Sharpie from the site table, have them write their name on it. I cannot tell you guys how many different you know, balls and equipments and things end up back here at the office with no names, and they go to the land of lost equipment. So if you guys see anybody there, encourage them to definitely bring their stuff out, get involved, purchase their balls, and be involved in regards to helping themselves develop with the skills. But definitely want to get their name, a number, a team, some sort of way I can contact them if we do find it at the end of the season. So what makes a great staff member, right? This is something that we are always looking, right? There's a ton of different things on here. In my eyes, these are some of the biggest values that I'm looking for, that our site management team is looking for, that our quality control is looking for when they're out there about, right? So what's going to make a great staff member? I think the number one thing is that high energy, passing out high fives and smile, right? Enthusiasm, positivity is what drives a program and creates from a dull experience to that really, you know, I want to come back week after week, right? The one thing you guys will never run out of when you're out there working is high fives and encouragement, right? You know, a good little piece of advice when I used to coach, I used to tell my kids is that there's only 2 things you can control in your life, right? It's your effort and your attitude. And I take that very heavily when we work with our staff, when we work here with our venues, is having a good effort and having a good attitude. And as long as you give those 2 things, everything else is going to work out, right? So I highly encourage you guys to kind of buy into that mentality of having that great effort, great attitude, and everything else is going to super smooth for you. Next, we want to go on to make sure we are getting to personalize, right? We're speaking with people on a first name basis, whether that's parents, that's coaches, that's kids. You know, the kids, you know, we look at these kids, they've got numbers on their backs, right? These kids, they're not going to learn their numbers. They're getting that jersey on week 1. They're not going to know their numbers. You know, ask them their name. When you're talking to them, ask them their name. It's going to go much further for a child if you come up to them and say, hey, what's going on, Johnny, versus if, hey, what's up, 6? You know, they're going to notice these things. Like those small changes in the way you speak to the kids, you know, it goes a long way. If you get to that personal level with them, it creates a relationship. It helps elevate their experience as well. I also encourage you guys, make sure you're introducing yourself to the parents, right? You guys are going to be the face of I9. You guys are going to be at the same venue week after week after week. Create those relationships with parents, right? You guys are making that positive impact on the community. The more you get to know the parents, typically the more fun the program is, right? You can use them. You create that relationship. They're more than happy to assist you guys if you guys are in need of something. Maybe a parent coaches out, whatever it might be. If you have that relationship with them, it helps take some of that pressure off of you as you work throughout the venue. You also want to make sure you guys are, you know, personalize yourself with the coaches, right? The coaches are going to be there week after week. They're going to be the ones that you are directly checking in with. You know, hey, Coach Mark, how's it going today? You know, what's the practice plan? What's going on? If you guys know each other on that first name basis and you guys already have that relationship starting to be established, the season goes so much more smooth when things are needed, right? You guys can hop in with practice plans. If coach has an issue or a question, you know, it's much easier to communicate that way with those personal connections. So please, whoever's out there with you guys, make sure we're getting to know their names, we're becoming personal, and we're becoming an impact in our community. Next, we want to make sure that we are being part of the experience, right? Staying involved during practice, finding a reason to work with the kids. You might be at a venue and all the coaches are absolute rock stars. Like, you check in with them, they don't need your help. They might not need this, they might not need that. Find a way to get involved, right? Maybe you're assisting one of them. Maybe you have a kid who's they're not doing so well. Maybe they're frustrated with the program. Find a way to become involved. Find a way to make an impact. Maybe you just need to go talk to parents, check in, see how the program's going. There's always a way you can make that impact and be involved and be present on the field, right? You can also jump into that cheerleading role, right? Jumping out there, a kid makes a goal, going crazy on the sideline, just getting the energy up. Next, you're going to make sure you're always wearing your I-9 staff shirt and your whistle. For our new staff, you guys are going to receive your shirt here on the first day of the venue, and you'll receive a whistle as well. If it's starting to rain, if it's cold outside, whatever it might be, I have no issue with anybody wearing a hoodie or anything like that. Just make sure you wear the staff shirt on top. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a kid's grandma. She's coming in for the first time. She has a question. She doesn't know who to ask, right? If she's looking across the field and nobody's wearing a staff shirt, she's going to be very, very confused, right? So please make sure that we are wearing, our proper shirts, our equipment, things like that. So those parents, those grandmas, those grandpas, if they have a question, they know who to identify. Put yourself in those shoes just when you guys are out there in terms of setup, in terms of equipment, uniform, and who to kind of direct and be in charge. We want to make sure we're present on the field and things. Next, we want to make sure we're staying off of our phones, right? I totally understand, sometimes you got to take a quick text, you might have a quick call, no problem with that, right? Just step off to the side, do what you got to do real quick and hop right back out there. But you guys really should not be on your phones, right? The only time I'm okay with you being on your phone is if you are using it for time, you're using it to keep score, or if you're just checking up on a practice plan or something like that. Totally okay with that. If it's work related, no issue involved. If you're using it to keep score or using it to keep time, just make sure you communicate that with the coaches, right? There's been a number of times the staff has used their phone for, just to keep quarters or to keep score or something. They don't communicate with the coaches, and the coaches call me, hey, Reese, the staff is on their phone. They're not even paying attention to the game, whatever it may be. Just make sure you communicate with them, right? Hey, Coach Bob, I'm not out here. I'm not texting on the job. I'm just actually using this for my time. It's a little thing, but I get it every single season. So just please make sure that if you do utilize that phone or anything like that for those resources, just communicate with the coaches. Next is making sure you guys are keeping score in your notebook, right? The phone is great. You can keep score on your phone. Make sure you also keep a second one, and you guys are reporting the scores, right? Every single season, it seems like we sometimes have some score issues. So we want to make sure that when we start the day, we're checking in with the coaches. Hey, what team are we? What team are we? Great. Set up your score sheet, super simple. Write the team names down, and then you record as you go. At halftime, at the quarter, check in with the coaches. Constantly check and confirm your score is correct with them. At the end of the game, have them initial your score sheet or your score notebook. Take it to the site table, write your scores down, and initial next to it. In the event that maybe a parent emails, a coach emails, hey, the score was actually this and this. And when you initial next to that score sheet, I can go back and know who to talk to. If you don't initial, you're going to send me on a goose chase, right? I got to reach out to 8 different staff members, coordinate which game was where, what it might be. Just make it easy, right? Write your initials next to it. That way, if you have any questions, we know who to talk to. We can get it all set up that way. And then lastly, like I said, just find a way to get involved. If everything is going perfect, the venue could be perfect. There could be, 4 coaches for every team. Every kid showed up. Every kid is having a blast. There's always something to do. You can go out. We have marketing. We got to always hand out flyers. We always got to find a way, a kid who we can elevate their experience. We can make a kid laugh. We can make kids smile. We can make a parent laugh, a parent smile. Always find a way to stay involved in the program. If you're ever really out there and you're struggling to find something to do, like, man, I think everything's going perfect, but I want to make sure I'm not just standing around. Just ask one of your site management people out there. I'm sure they can notice something. They'll put you on something to do during that practice. But constantly bounce back and forth, communicate with the coaches. There's always something to do in regards to a venue and to a practice or a program. So your responsibilities, right? And this is something that I think is huge, is one, you need to know the rules for your sport and age groups. Now, for everybody, please, at the end of this meeting, go on Connect Team. I just uploaded brand new rule books. Every single sport has now had something change in it, right? We've gone through, Lewis, Todd, and I have sat down. We went through an entire long meeting, basically going through each rule book and resetting it, re-editing it. So make sure you guys go through and get to learn some of those new rules. Volleyball in specific, we have a new scoring rule. I'm not going to go too in depth with it to save some time, but please make sure you go back and review some of those newest changes. Same with baseball, we got some major changes in there. So Important to know that you guys are going to be the experts out there, right? When there's a question in regards to rules, when there's a question in regards to what's allowed, what's not allowed, they're going to look at you guys, right? Please make sure you understand the rule book. If you have any questions, I am always available. I've responded, connecting messages as often as I can. You can text me at 1 a.m. I swear, if I'm up at 1 a.m., I will text you right back as quick as I can as soon as I get the message. Please don't feel like, I need to wait. Text me when you have a question. It will not bother me as long as, I promise. Does anybody on here know? Someone just jump in. Where can you find all your rule books and practice plans? Anyone want to try? Someone just jump in. I'll pick somebody.
Knowledge based, Reese.
Knowledge base. Thank you, Nick. Round of applause. Anything you guys are going to need in regards to programs, to venues, any questions you might have, check knowledge base, right? Each individual venue is going to have a tab in there. I haven't built it out yet, but throughout the season, it's going to have your rules. It's going to have your practice plans. It's going to have what to do, how to set the venue up, who's the site management there. If it's a venue with some specific instructions where it's like, hey, you got to go in through this door and hit this code, do this. All of that is going to be in those tabs, those folders. Make sure you review that before the start of opening day, just so you guys are fully aware and fully up to date with everything you guys need to do in regards to getting the venue up and off the ground. Next, review the practice plans. Make sure you know what's going on. The coaches are each going to receive the practice plans every week, right? They're going to get emailed, these practice plans. This is what they're going to be referring to when they talk to you guys about practice plans, right? You guys also need to make sure you are reviewing this. You understand what's going on. A lot of coaches, they might do their own thing. Totally okay, right? They might have a different practice plan, different set. But, there's going to be a number of them that do utilize those practice plans. They're going to lean on those practice plans very heavily. So when they come and ask you a question, hey, Coach Nick, what's red light, green light? And you're like, man, I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. They're going to stare at you like you're crazy, right? Because that's the exact resource that we are sending them. Oh, excuse me. So make sure we're reviewing those, right? Each age group is going to have a different practice plan attached to it with different skills, different drills on progressing them throughout the season. I always say, I'd recommend before you go in for your day, look and see during your shift, am I working Pee-wee, or they're juniors or senior in my groups? Awesome. Let me just review these practice plans real quick just so it's fresh in your mind, but really review them as we go out through the course of the week. And then when you get the update, I also attach them at the bottom for you as well. Next is going to be the on my way task and arriving on time. So for all of our returners, you guys already know what on my way tasks are. For all of our new staff here, on my way task, you're going to receive a task here about midway through the week prior to your shift. It's called an on my way task. What that task is going to do, it's going to be due 30 minutes before the start of your shift. It's going to open 45 minutes beforehand. Since we are kind of I have to remotely manage a lot of the staff here because there's so many different venues. All you got to do is going to pop up. It just lets me know you're on your way to work. As soon as you leave, you hit that button. It tells me on your way. I don't have to worry about it. I know you're going to work. If you missed the on my way task, not a big deal. But you might get a text message from me. You might get a quick phone call, just checking in. Hey, Alex, just want to make sure, hey, it looks like you missed your on my way task. I want to make sure all good. Alex is up. He's on his way to work. He just didn't have a connection for a second, so you have to complete it. Not a big deal, man. Completes it, and now we're all set to go for the day. It just helps me out here from management tech perspective of making sure that all the venues are handled, everybody's where they're supposed to be, and we are all set to go for the day. The time that you guys will see on your job scheduler, that is the time you need to be at the venue. If you look on individual staff sheets, which you'll see in your guys your knowledge base, there's going to be a staff schedule. It might start to say, it might say you're going to be there at 9 o'clock. The one on job scheduler is the one time you need to be there at, right? That's 7:30 for the morning shifts. That time is when the setup time starts, right? So if you look at both of them, and one says 7:30 on the job scheduler, the one on knowledge base says 9 o'clock when the program starts. The 7:30 is when you need to be there for setup. The program starts at 9. Please do not arrive for the first session. Please arrive for setup. I know I had some staff confused with that last season, so I always like to touch on that. Next, when you're at the venue, we want to make sure that all of our equipment is in place and prepared, right? So if we're doing soccer, we have the right size balls for the super peewees. We have size 3 balls at every field. We're doing flag football. All the flag bags are out. The footballs are evenly distributed. If we're doing baseball, right, all the bases are out. There's access to bats, the tees, the helmets. All that needs to be out and placed in the way that we're supposed to do it here in the format that fields allow. We'll go into more in depth of what that looks like here in training, but you can also see all of that on knowledge base in those the rule books and in the procedures columns there. The other thing I want to touch on that too is when we have our equipment, please make sure that we are keeping it organized, right? We don't want to mix bags of balls. When you have to go through and you have to separate fours from threes, it's a pain in the butt, right? It's going to make it harder for you the next week. When you have, flag football and there's 12 balls in one bag and one ball in another, you're just making it harder on yourselves for the future weeks. So when it comes to that equipment distribution, so make sure that throughout the course of the day, we are just keeping everything organized for ourselves, just to help out our futures, to help out our coworkers. It just keeps things a little bit easier for you. Next, we're going to be responsible for assisting parent coaches during practice. Mom and dad, they're great. They might have gone out there trying to be the best parents they could for little Billy, but mom and dad might not know anything about sports, right? So they're going to lean on us to make sure that we are providing them so a little bit of instruction, a little bit of assistance when we are out there working with them. Please make sure that you guys are checking in with each coach each day. There are some coaches that are going to not need your help at all, and there's going to be some coaches that are going to need your help every single day. It is super important, again, like we talked about earlier, getting to know those coaches, getting to know them on a first name basis, and really helping them as they go through, right? Like I said, we are a volunteer-based program. So these parents are doing this out of the kindness of their hearts, right? They're doing this to help their kids. They're doing this to help other people's kids. They might not be a sports professional or anything like that. So make sure we're checking in. They're comfortable. They're ready to go. If they're struggling with the drill, if they're not sure what to do for the day, we are the experts out there. Be sure to jump in, provide them that instruction, help them get started, and then check as you go through, continue to check in with everybody else. And then, of course, sticking to schedule is going to be huge. Like I said earlier, we don't really have a whole lot of time for layover between programs. So we want to make sure that we are starting the game on time, right? If a game is supposed to start at 10:30 or a session is supposed to start at 10:30, that whistle is blown, that session starts at 10:30. We don't want to wait till 10:35, 10:36 when there's more people, because now we're 5 minutes behind, right? And that avalanche is over time. Whatever the schedule says, when that start time starts, that's when we need to start. That will also encourage people, right? If they show up and they're 5 minutes late and the game's already started, the practice has already started, they're going to start realizing, hey, man, I got to get here earlier, right? If they show up 5 minutes late and we're still standing around, nothing's begun, they're going to realize, hey, it's okay for me to show up late because they're going to wait for me, right? We can't have that, right? Especially the season's as big. Some of our venues, we have 500-600 kids are going to be coming through, right? We don't have time to sit here and wait on other people. From day one, make sure we are staying on schedule. The whistle is blowing from the go, and we are staying on top of that. And then lastly, the most important thing is for you guys to have fun, right? I'm talking a lot of different points here. There's a lot of different stuff being thrown out there, but I truly believe this is one of the funnest jobs in the world, right? I say it every single season. I say it every single meeting. You guys are right now being paid to play sports. Therefore, you are now a professional athlete, right? And professional athletes have the most fun. I'm a strong believer that kids are gonna, they're super absorbent. Whatever is around a kid, whatever is in that environment, that kid is going to buy into and become. So if you guys are having fun, you guys are bringing that energy, it's only going to elevate that kid's experience. It's only have them have more fun as well. So please make sure at the end of the day, while you guys are working hard, you guys are doing everything you're supposed to be doing, have fun, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the programs, enjoy being around sports. That passion for sports is what has brought you guys here. And be sure to lean into that to have the best experience yourselves as well. So opening day, let me grab a sip of my coffee real quick here. Opening day, right? Opening day is going to be the hardest day of the season. And we'll really go into it in training here, but it is incredibly hard to emulate what an opening day is going to look like, right? We'll do our best to kind of get you guys prepared, but until you actually live out an opening day, it's a little hard to explain. Before we get started, if you guys want to give me a thumbs up, if you're feeling confident about opening day, a thumbs down. If you're like, hey man, I'm nervous, how are you guys feeling? A lot of thumbs up. I love it. It's okay if everybody has a thumb down. My first ever opening day, I was freaking out. So, perfect. Akil is super ready, man. Akil's got 7 thumbs up. Awesome, guys. So opening day, right? What to expect? So this is going to see the first 5 minutes of each program is a little bit of controlled chaos, right? Everybody's coming in for the first time. They're not sure what to expect either. It is super important. They're going to come in. Our coaches are going to come in. Make sure that all of our coaches are checking in at the front table. For those of us who are new to I-9 Sports, there's going to be a red I-9 Sports table at the front of your venue. On that table, there's going to be a coach check-in. There's going to be a couple other sheets, some informational sheets. As the coaches come in, right, greet them. They're going to be wearing this red I-9 Sports shirt if they're a returning coach. If they're not, they're going to come up. They're going to be in a regular shirt. From there, they're going to check in on that table. It's a super simple sheet. It's got their names on it. It's got a red box next to them that tells them everything they need to know. What court they're on, what color jersey they're wearing, what time everything starts at. They just need to put a check mark next to their name. You're going to hand them their jersey bag. and you're going to direct them to their court. Everything they're going to need is going to be in that jersey bag. It's going to have their shirt. It's going to have their roster. It's going to have all of their kids' jerseys. From there, kids are going to come in. They're going to run it up to the table. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? We don't have to check the kids in. They're going to direct them straight to their courts where their coaches are. Their coaches are going to then distribute their jerseys, and we'll get started from there. During that distribution time, usually about the first 5 minutes, please encourage the coaches to get to know their kids, right? Play the name game. Start to build that community right off the rip, right? We want coaches to know the kids' names. We want the kids to know the coaches' names. You get to know each other, right? We do this, to build a community for the kids to get to know each other, for the kids to get the experience of sports. All of these sports are team-based sports. So make sure that we're getting the kids a chance to get to know each other's names. If you have a coach that's not, maybe coach is out that day, coach just didn't show up, somebody needs to make sure that we coordinate somebody to make sure we're getting those jerseys out. Whether it's a staff member, grab a random parent, ask them if they can just quickly help out, get the jerseys out. Most parents are more than happy if you're just, hey, coach isn't here. Can you just quickly help us distribute these jerseys before we get started? Week 1 practices, we are always going to be leading. So we will lead week 1. We're going to show them what the I-9 sports instruction looks like. So we'll be executing each activity. Important to note, if you are a volleyball staff member, right, you will be leading every single week. All the other programs, if a coach comes up and say, hey, coach, I got this. I don't need, staff instruction. They're more than welcome to do their own thing. We just check in with them periodically as we go through the course of the day. But for week 1, we want to lead all the instruction. And what it breaks down to, right, we're going to make sure we do a group warm-up, do any sort of announcements we need to make. Welcome to I-9 Sports. Super excited to get you guys out here. You can quickly touch on the season, how many weeks we're going, introduce yourselves. Make sure everybody at the venue knows who you are, right? Again, you're going to see these people every single week for the next 6 to 7 weeks, maybe 8 weeks if we have those relays. Let them know who you are, right? Make that connection with them. Become that face in that venue, that gym, that field. That way, everybody, we were creating that sense of community. After that, we're going to do our warm-up, our first drill. They're going to get water. During that drill, during that water break, we can go over our first sportsmanship value of the day. Does anybody remember what week 1 sportsmanship value is for any of our returners?
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Thank you very much. Yes, enthusiasm. For those of you guys who don't know me yet, enthusiasm is my favorite word. I'm sure you guys will find out eventually here at one of the venues, but enthusiasm is the best word out there. So week 1 is always enthusiasm. I highly encourage you guys to make sure you guys are really leaning into that enthusiasm, right? Week 1 will establish what it is for the rest of the season. If you come in week 1, it's a week program, we're down in the dumps, we're keeping things low energy. It's going to be like that for the next 6 weeks. Come out there from the gate, make sure it's we're operating at a high level. We're being enthusiastic. The kids are excited. We're excited. That's going to set the precedent for what's going to be for the next few weeks. The parents are going to buy into it, and we're going to create that fun, energetic youth sports environment. From there, we will go into our drill 2, drill 3, typically another water break, maybe another water break between before we start our game. It is super important to note, right? Week 1, it is just a scrimmage. We are going to keep score. While you're going to let everybody know that the game doesn't count in terms of standings, but as a staff, we're going to keep score. A couple of reasons for that. One, I want you guys to get kind of back in the swing of things. You get the practice of keeping score. You can kind of figure out your system on your note sheet, your phone, whatever you need to work on, or find your system to make it work. That gives you a chance to do that. 2 is a lot of kids' first time playing this sport, right? They might not know all the rules. So if we do a scrimmage, it gives us a chance to break down the game, slow the game down, and explain the rules. If we're doing basketball, what is a double dribble? What is a travel? If we're doing volleyball, how many hits we need to make? What does a serve roll look like? If we're playing soccer, right, what is a throw in? What's a corner kick? What's a goal kick? All sorts of facets of this game, right? So week 1, right, we're going to be very, very instructional, giving the kids opportunity to make mistakes and have those teachable moments so that come week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, we're playing the real game. We don't have to slow the game down. The kids have a full understanding and grasp. So make sure we are also reporting those scores. We will look at those scrimmage scores here at the office, and we'll actually restructure the league, right? We are very focused on trying to keep the teams balanced through the season because honestly, nobody wants to play in a league where there's one team that's winning by 30 points of basketball every single day, right? Nobody wants to play in a league where there's a soccer team winning by 5 goals. Week 1 is super important for us to get those scores so we can rebuild the teams if need be to keep it as fair as possible. That way it's the best competitive league for everybody to get an opportunity to play and even sometimes win and have those competitions. So make sure we're recording those scores and recording them the proper way. It's a good practice for you guys, and it's great for us at the league to make sure we got everything balanced right. So sportsmanship values. So this is another milestone of what I-9 does. So it's probably the most crucial aspect of the program. Sportsmanship is everything here at I-9, so it's going to separate us out from everybody else. Every single week is going to have a different value. Does anybody know where you're going to see the value of the week each week? Someone try me. I'm going to pick somebody.
I can.
Go for it.
We get a message every week on the app, and the message that you send us have which sportsmanship that we're going to be talking about this week.
Yes, sir. Right on the money. Thank you very much. So, yep, just like you said, who was that? I didn't see the thing.
I'm Maz, man.
Oh, Maz, perfect. Thank you, man. Yeah, you pop on my screen. Maz is very good, man. Awesome. So you'll get that each week on the app. You'll get an update from me. We'll go over some of the different aspects of what to look for that week, whether it's marketing, whether our NPS is going out, if there's any sort of like changes or anything like that. We'll get that update. It's super important for you guys to read those updates. We're in the process of restructuring some of those. So for some of you guys returners who've seen those repetitive updates, we're revamping that. So you guys will have something new to read each week. I know some of us don't like to go all the way through them. So be known, I'm writing some awesome new updates for you, just for you guys in mind. But make sure we're checking out those updates. If you go to a venue and you forget what it is, you can't remember, and you're on the fly, go to the site table. On that coach check-in sheet is going to have the sport value of the day as well. We just want to make sure we're communicating that with the coaches as they come in as well. They're going to receive it via email as well. So we just want to make sure that everybody in the venue is aware of what it is, and they're going to be getting those medals out. By the end of the season, every single kid needs to get a medal. If you have a team of, say, 10 kids, obviously it's a 6-week season, we're going to give out multiple medals each week. We don't want to necessarily tell the kids they're all going to get a medal, but we want them to try to live those values, right? We want them to try to earn that medal, right? We're going to give it to them regardless, but we want them to really lean into what do these values mean? Go over it, right? Have them give you examples, have them give you definitions, and give them examples in the real world. If we're talking about, inclusivity, talk about how, including a friend maybe at a lunch table, including a friend in a game at the playground, whatever it might be, try to get these real world examples to connect with the kids so they get the opportunity to then use it in their own lives, whether at home, at school, whatever it might be, just a way for them to elevate themselves as people. This is also going to be what the coaches make of it, right? We don't want the coaches to just hand the kids a plastic, like the medal in the plastic. Have them take the medal out, right? Present it to them, put it around their neck. This is a big deal for these kids. They're receiving an award for something, right? If you're seeing coaches just take them and hand it to them in the plastic, talk to coach. Hey, coach, quick reminder, right? This is it might seem like for us as adults, it might not seem like a big of a deal. To this kid, this is everything, right? The parents appreciate it. The kid appreciates it. Make a big deal out of it, right? This is an opportunity for a kid to be rewarded, not for physical talent, but for, showing the best value of themselves. We are also launching a new sportsmanship value here as well. We'll be doing what's called sportsmanship road signs. So moving forward at each venue, there's going to be a sportsmanship big road sign. Anybody who wins that medal for the week, they're going to get a road sign to go with them. Encourage them to take pictures. They're going to stand in front of it, take a picture, post it on social media, tag us. They're going to take it home. They're going to put it in their yard for the whole week. All their neighbors are going to see, hey, they have the best kid on the block. My kid won a sportsmanship medal, right? At the end of the week, they're going to pick that up. You're going to have them bring it back. It's a new tradition we're going to try to get going here this season. Each venue is going to have those sportsmanship road signs. For those of us who are here who are going to be site leadership, it is super important that you guys stay communicating with me. How many of those signs do you have? How many of those signs are going out? How many are being returned? That way we can make sure we have a constant flow and current inventory of them. But as instructors, we want to drive that new program just to elevate that sportsmanship side of things. The parents, we ran a little bit of a pilot here at LCDS last season, absolutely loved it. So we're going to try to do it on both franchises this upcoming season. So a lot of frequently asked questions. You guys might get these on week one. I do like to touch on them. We'll go through them super quickly. I know I'm kind of starting to press time here. But the I-9 sports merchandise. So if anybody comes up to you, say that they bought socks, shorts, equipment, they bought ball, they bought a hoodie, whatever it might be, the only thing that we're going to provide as a franchise is the jersey on game day. Anything else they bought is going to be shipped directly from our headquarters in Florida. So any questions with that, they can just let them know that, hey, it's going straight to your door. They can email me at the league office. I'm just going to send them to our customer service email. It's like I9 Sports customer service or customer service at i9sports.com. Right? I have no control. I can't see their order. I can't forward their order. It's coming from headquarters. So just let them know it's going to be shipped directly to their door. Next is going to be volunteer coaches, right? We are a volunteer coach program. We don't hide it. That's what it is, and most youth sport organizations are. Let them know. Right? If they have any questions about coaching, anybody in that red shirt, those are volunteer coaches, right? We don't have professional coaches. There's no paid coaches. We just have paid staff and instructors and officials. So if anybody asks about the professional coaching side of things, we've never once, we're marketed as a volunteer coach-led program, 100% volunteer-led. So, if there's any confusion about that, just remind them, hey, the coaches, those are parents who stepped up to help out. They get a ton of different resources, access to the mobile app, a whole bunch of stuff to make sure they're prepared and set to go, including training courses. I work with them directly, but they are not paid staff members. So if they have any questions of leagues or anything like that, they're going to ask you guys. If you guys don't know, direct them to your site management, and the site management can direct them to me if need be. Next is going to be the I9 Sports Portal. This is going to be their one-stop shop for really any information they need on the season. That's going to have their whole season schedule, what color jersey they're wearing, where they need to be. They can opt into text messages from there. If they're interested in signing up for snacks, there's even a snack option on there for them to sign up for, to know who's getting snacks. I'll email them, text them updates the day of where they need to be, if they're bringing snacks, all that stuff. So any questions of like future schedules, if they're like unsure where to find stuff, have them log on to their portal hit my season, and it's got all the information for them on there. Sportsmanship medals. A lot of parents ask, hey, my kid didn't get a sportsmanship medal. It's halfway through the season. When is my kid getting a sportsmanship medal? Rest assured, every kid will get a sportsmanship medal. We can't, we want to give them out, one or two a week. That way we get spread out for the whole season. But rest assured, everybody's going to get a sportsmanship medal, and make sure that they're driving that value for the day. Next is going to be the end of season awards. If anybody's asking about end of season awards, we will always do an end of season ceremony. The division winners win trophies. Our Super Pee, everybody gets a participation medal. Super Pee-wees, they are going to get stickers. Pee-wees will get medals, and then junior and senior divisions will always receive trophies for division winners and then medals for all participants. Awesome, guys. And then we have our 2010-1 impact. This is something that we want to strive for every single season, every single session. So super important. So the 2010-1, right? And I say you guys want to look for this in every single hour. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Every single hour, right? So 2010-1, what does that mean? It means 20 player interactions, right? That's a high five. That's encouragement. That's getting to know a kid's name, some show way you're interacting with them, getting on that personal level with them. That doesn't mean to say in the first 10 minutes you give 20 kids a high five and you're done for the day, right? This is simply a guideline, right? We want to make sure that we're guiding to try to get at least 20, meaningful interactions with a kid, with a player, in some way elevating their experience for that session. Next, we're trying to get 10 parent interactions, right? We're giving parents high fives. We're introducing ourselves. We're saying hello. We're answering any questions they might have. Or some way engaging with the parents to elevate, again, their experience as well. And then lastly, that wow factor, right? We're going above and beyond. The one wow factor for each session, right? Maybe little Billy's having an awful experience. He had a really bad day. He didn't sleep much last night. He's 3 years old. He's crying. He's throwing a fit. And you're going out there. You're taking him, you're really getting him on the court. I make sure that he's having a blast. He goes from having that hissy fit to now he's having the best day of his life, right? That's a wow factor, right? That's what we're aiming to do, at least one of those in every single session. So when you guys are out there, keep that in mind, right? I'm going for that 10-1, that 20-10-1 each hour of my shift. Again, please don't look at it more so as that this is like the bare minimum. This should be more of sort of a guideline, right? If you can, you should try to get 151, 150-10, right? These are just a guideline for you guys to aim for. Next is going to be our Wow to the Season Award. These are going to be calculated. There's a couple different things we do. It's basically an incentive to get you guys a bonus for you guys' performance and what we can see out there. You guys will earn points here. You guys can through emails, through our NPS feedback, and overall how the venue is doing as a whole. We're kind of tight on time here, so I won't go too in-depth with it. I'm about to finalize our summer one here. So for our staff who work this summer, just keep an eye out here on your update. I'll put out the top 3 winners. But our first place one's a $125 bonus. Our second place one's a $100 bonus. And our third place one's a $75 bonus. You guys can see the way that I calculated what I'm looking for, all those rules under knowledge base, under wows of the season. If you are out of venue, you notice someone doing something absolutely spectacular, right? Javon's out there and he just absolutely elevated this team to a new different level. And so one of you guys noticed it. You guys can go in there, go to the form, submit it. Let me know, right? Let our management know. We want to know the great things you guys are doing out there, right? The downside of us being such a large organization is that I can't be everywhere, right? I can't always see the incredible impacts you guys are doing, but I want to know about it, right? So help each other get found out, help each other see each other's actions by submitting those forms. Let me know what's going on. And that way we get those who are really working to make those impacts recognized on a company level. Perfect, guys. So that's going to kind of wrap up our presentation here. I always leave a little bit of time here at the end. So if anybody has questions they want me to go over. But past that, guys, I really appreciate everybody hopping on here. I am super stoked again for the season. This is going to be, again, one of the biggest seasons we've had. Aiming to have about 400 teams across all of our franchises here. If you have any questions, any concerns, give me a call, shoot me a text. If you want to sit down on a one-on-one, you have questions about what a practice plan looks like, about the rule book, about any sort of expectations, anything that you need, you're just unsure about or you want more reassurance of, please let me know. My job here is to make your job as easy as possible. And that's something I strive to do. So if there's something that you need, let me know, and I'm more than happy to help you guys out anyway. But past that, guys, like I said, super appreciative of everybody being on here. If you haven't done your background checks, please get your background checks in. If you need to submit paperwork, submit your paperwork. But past that, guys, again, we are all set for the night. Hop on if you guys have any questions, feel free to stay on. But thank you guys all, and looking forward to a great season.
Thanks, Reese.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Reese.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Reese.
Tony, you got a question, man?